Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are going to be doing a nice 2024 goals / bingo board recap. I decided to wear green eyeshadow to make it a little bit more festive because I'm actually upstairs right now in my bedroom, in our bedroom, and there's no holiday decorations up here, so I was like, we need to do something. I thought it would be nice to kind of take some time right before the end of the year to go over how my 2024 bingo board goals went and just kind of talk a little bit about that with all of you, because I know I did a mid-year goal check-in, but now we're at the end of the year and we can be definitive about what I was able to accomplish, what I was not able to accomplish, and whether or not I got a bingo this year. So what I did to prep for this video is I rewatched my first video and I wrote down the order that I went in for my goal categories. So it's going to follow that and hopefully everything will kind of like make sense and align. You don't have to go watch that video again because I'll try to provide some context for all of these goals, but just wanted to let you know if you did watch that video. So let's just, let's get right into it. First category, general wellness. I was able to accomplish daily walks this year. There were maybe like a couple days in there where I was sick, where I did not go on a daily walk, but I'm giving myself a pass on that because the point, like the sentiment behind the goal was to have more daily movement. Every day I would, if I got to the end of the day and I was like, oh, I didn't like go on a walk or I didn't move my body today, I felt not bad, but I felt like I didn't complete my daily routine. And then I would go on a walk. Usually I'd be like, okay, I have to just like get out of the house or I have to move, I have to do something. Yeah, I accomplished this. And honestly, overall, even though there were some other fitness goals, which I'll talk about, that kind of I don't want to say overshadowed it, but I think having this as like a staple of just trying to get in movement it's been really nice. So I'm very proud of myself for accomplishing that. And then I also did accomplish an almost dry year. My original intention behind this was basically just to be a little bit more mindful about when I was consuming alcohol. Alcohol kind of feels like something that I could go with or without. There's very rare circumstances where I actively am like, I want to consume alcohol. I was finding that it was just making me really tired. Originally, I was going to keep track of like every time that I consumed alcohol, but I didn't really want to do that to myself. But I will say that I think the number of times I drank this year would probably be under 20. And I do feel like every time that I chose to drink, it was because I wanted to. So like, for example, when I went to Ireland, when I was at my friend's bachelorette party, at her wedding, there's just like certain circumstances where I would have like a glass of wine or something like that. But outside of that, I wasn't really consuming alcohol. And do I necessarily notice any like immediate tangible health benefits? No, but I'm sure my body is, grateful that I was not consuming a ton of alcohol. But I think generally speaking, like I did a good job with this one. What I didn't accomplish this year was probably sleep more and sleep better, as well as more intention about my attention. My sleep, I think it's a love-hate relationship because in theory, I know I'm supposed to be getting around 8 hours of sleep. I know everybody's different, but realistically, I probably get around 6 to 7. So I'm not giving myself the sleep one. I do really want to be a little bit better about that or try to be more intentional about that next year. And then same for my attention. I think that something I've noticed is that I really like always having something playing in the background, whether that's music or a podcast or a YouTube video or just like something. And I wake up and I'm trying to get ready to go to work. I'm always like, oh, I need to like listen to something while I do that. And then I spend time trying to figure out what I'm going to listen to. And then as I'm getting ready, I find myself getting distracted. I don't think I can give myself this one, but I'll be thinking more about this for the new year. So next category, fitness. I did run a 5K. I ran a 10K, although that one wasn't like an officially organized race. That was just part of my training. And I ran a half marathon. So I hit all of my fitness goals. And then the kind of like bonus pieces to this were that I did join a gym and I started weightlifting again, which has felt very nice. And I also have a personal trainer, which I feel like has helped me with all of these pieces. So this is a category where I am really proud of myself. Next one is fun. So the ones that I did accomplish, I traveled to a new country. So I went to Ireland in February. And I also did read 6 books for fun. I read Babel, I read Thick, I read The Late Homecomer, I read Stay With Me, I read Show Your Work, and I read The Loneliest Americans. And I'm currently reading how to write your dissertation in 15 minutes a day, which I hopefully will finish before the end of the year because it's kind of like, it's a fun read and it's a relatively quick read. So I'll list all those books in the description box, but it was fun to read for fun, I guess. So things I did not accomplish in this fun category, I did not take dance classes, and I don't really think that I will be taking dance classes before the end of the year. So that's okay though, maybe next year. This is a category that I didn't accomplish anything in, which I don't know. I need to think about this a little bit more for next year, but it's my PhD category. Well, you know what? I'm going to give myself one of these. So I'm going to say I did actually finish the quant portion of my PhD, but I haven't finished writing it up just yet, but my goal is to have a rough draft of that before the end of the month. So I'm going to give myself a flexible accomplished on that one. I did not, however, submit an article for publication, and I did not complete the first qualitative portion of my PhD either. And honestly, the more that I reflect about this, like being more intentional about how I plan my PhD work is probably one of my top goals for next year. And I'm going to be thinking more about that and probably sharing that a little bit more with all of you. All things in time. It's fine. So next category was work. The only thing in this was to get a job, which I accomplished. Amazing. Next category was language. I didn't accomplish anything in this category either, which was to take and pass the HSK4. Oh, and then for anyone who isn't familiar, HSK, I actually don't even know what HSK stands for in English, but in Mandarin it's 汉语水平考试. So I wanted to take that and pass level 4, when the other one was to restart my Spanish language learning. So both of these goals I feel like I really fell off of after the first quarter, because I was actually listening to this Spanish language learning podcast on my daily walks in the beginning of the year, and then that kind of fell off. And then my Chinese language learning, just I don't know that it ever really was on at all this year. But this is actually another area that this is something that I would like to do in the new year. Next category is financial, and I was actually able to accomplish all of my financial goals, which is amazing. So I was able to save $5,000. This is, I know it doesn't sound like maybe a lot to some people, but I also feel like it's like also not an insignificant amount of money. Yeah, I'm proud of myself for this. I think I was actually able to save a little bit more of that if you count retirement contributions and stuff like that. I've become a lot more interested in just like personal finance and things like that. So I think actually in this coming year in 2025, I would like to make some more videos just talking about it. I think that there's obviously a lot of personal finance advice out there, and I definitely don't want to turn into a personal finance guru by any means, but I think just sharing a little bit more about how I approach money. I'm still workshopping this and like deciding how much I want to share, because I also know that it's kind of like a sensitive topic, but I also just feel like it's helpful for me when I watch other people and they kind of are more honest about like what they're doing, and even if it's general amounts of like how much they've saved or things like that, because I just almost feel like I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to have. I guess because I chose to, be in school and kind of do more freelance work and stuff like that. Like, I just feel like I'm not exactly in the same boat as like some of the other people who are doing like personal finance. And so I have been trying to find smaller personal finance folks who are talking more a little bit about their own circumstance that might be a little bit less traditional. Also trying to like find more women and women of color. I say all of that to say that I was able to save $5,000, and my emergency fund I do want to continue contributing to, but it looks a lot better than it did. And then I was able to open a Roth IRA. So that was really actually not that hard, which I for some reason thought it was, but I opened it with Fidelity. And then I actually had some existing retirement contributions from my first job out of college. Not a lot, because I was not making that much money, but I rolled that into my Roth IRA. There's not a ton of money in it, but it's something. And then I also was able to start an Asia tour fund. This honestly kind of just turned into a Japan fund, because when I got my job, it became not feasible for me to take a month plus off to travel Asia. And that's okay. I remember when I said it, I was like, it's okay if this ends up looking different. My Asia tour fund is doing pretty well, and my goal is to buy my plane tickets next year sometime pretty early as kind of like a 30th birthday present for myself. Yeah, so I'm excited about that, and I'm hoping that the new place that I go to next year is going to be Japan. Actually, another bonus part of this financial piece is that I started investing with my Roth IRA, even though I chose the robo option, and I know that some people have mixed feelings about that, but I was just like, I don't know anything. I need someone else to do it for me. But I also started my own self-directed, I think is what they call it, my own like self-directed investment brokerage account. I only recently started that, actually, probably like 2 months ago, but that's like kind of a bonus goal, I guess. Next category is relationships, and I feel like I was able to accomplish this as well. It was basically to nurture the relationships in my life, both like platonic, romantic, familial, all of the above. I feel like I was able to do that this year. I know that it's going to shift, especially in these coming years, as like my friends have kids. We're all kind of continuing to get older and move into different life stages and things like that. So this is always going to be a priority for me, and just thinking about how I can continue to pour into the people who pour into me, and show up for the people who show up for me, and continue just cultivating honestly what I think is like a pretty incredible community. I'm very, very grateful for all the people I have in my life. Also, like at work, even the older I get and the more jobs that I work, the more that I understand how big of a blessing it is to not only have a job where you are, I mean, I always think we can get paid more or the cost of living should go down, but where I do think I'm being compensated relative to a lot of other roles, like I am being compensated very well, and how big of a blessing it is to like the people that you work with, and also, or at the very least, like not be stressed out by them, or not, actively be annoyed by them. The TLDR is that I feel very blessed to be surrounded by the people that I am surrounded by. I don't take that for granted. So I want to continue prioritizing those relationships and just pouring into that. Next category is creation. And so I was able to accomplish having more fun with creation and less overthinking. And I would say specifically at the end of this year, I basically went through, as I usually do, I started the year very optimistic. I was like, oh, I want to do all this, and I want to post on Instagram, and I want to do a YouTube video and all these things. And I don't know, there was kind of like a 3-month period, probably between August and November, where I just was not into it. I mean, I honestly haven't really been into Instagram for a while now. That's actually something I want to think about for this coming year. But YouTube, I want to say the last 2 videos, especially since I have returned from my 3-month hiatus, I've really been enjoying it. I've been enjoying the editing process, trying to not think too much about it, trying not to be too much of a perfectionist about it. And I've been really enjoying it so far. I jokingly wrote in my endnotes of my last video that this feels like my own version of Vlogmas. And it's kind of funny because I used to upload a video every week, and I haven't been doing that, but now in the month of December I have been, and so that's my version of Vlogmas, is uploading weekly. I don't want to promise that I'm going to still be uploading weekly in the new year, but I do think my goal would be maybe every other week, something like that. I'm not sure yet though. What I did not accomplish within this creation category was to start blogging again. I did not start blogging again, and I really fell off with my weekly memories. I just think the blogging one is in part because I didn't really get my website together, and that's actually also something that I think next year I'm going to change. I need to like dump WordPress because I just can't. I realize I don't have the time, the energy to make it the way that I want to make it. So I did not start blogging again. And my weekly memories posts, I don't think I'm meant to post weekly, at least in this stage of my life. I guess for anyone who isn't aware, I wanted to do this like weekly post on my Instagram, my like fun Instagram of my 29th year. And the whole point was like, oh, even if nothing interesting is happening that week, like it's still, I don't know, you should still remember it and document it and make it, I don't know, make it interesting. That was the general philosophy that I was going for, at least when I set this goal. And sometimes I just have nothing to post. Y'all don't need to see me weekly. So that was my creation category. And then finally, my kind of other category. I'm giving myself this one. I was able to refresh my office. Now, it's definitely not completely the way that I would like it to be, but I actually am trying to adopt more of a philosophy for my home decorating. That sounds so annoying, but just like, I'm not trying to rush everything. And I also think that, well, one, it's expensive. I can't afford to completely redo it in the way that I would want to do it, or like refresh it in the way that I would want to do it. And that's okay. I think it's better to kind of take your time to think more intentionally about what you want to change, what you want to add, what you want to take away. And I, made a major step, or I had a major step where I added a daybed into my office, and I also kind of rearranged it a little bit, and I added plants. And so, you know what? That's okay for me. That's like enough for me. And I think moving into the new year, if I have another kind of home decor goal around my office, it's probably going to be more localized, like adding artwork to the walls, or, refreshing my desk area. It's going to be a little bit more focused instead of saying I'm going to completely refresh my office. Oh, and then another thing I did want to add as well was that my word or theme of the year was more life. Once again, not inspired by Drake, but the title of his album. The kind of idea behind it, at least, was like, embracing everything that comes this year, just trying to like lean in more to enjoy the smaller moments of life, the larger moments too, but just trying to enjoy more, embrace everything more. And I do feel like I was able to do that this year. All things considered, I think this was a pretty good year. 29 was a good year, and one of growth and change, and it was a good year. And then the question that I know you've been waiting for, did I get a bingo? And the answer is yes, I got a bingo. As I lean, I'll put it here so you can see where the bingo happened. I kind of enjoyed having this like bingo board as just like a fun thing to like kind of cross off and see what happens. I don't know if I'm going to do it again next year, but it is definitely, it's definitely something that I had fun with. So that was how my 2024 goals went. I would be very curious to know how yours went. And I think it's important, again, reiterating, like what we want, and also our life circumstances can shift and they ebb and they flow over the course of the year. I tend to be someone who's more on the side of let's not shame ourselves or make ourselves feel bad for the things that we maybe wanted to accomplish and couldn't, especially if there's extenuating circumstances that impacted your ability to meet those goals. And so but I do just want to know, how did your year go? Please tell me something as well, maybe that you're proud of that went well, and we can celebrate that. You can also talk about, things that maybe didn't go as well or things you're disappointed about. But I want everyone to remember that even if it felt like 2024 wasn't exactly your year, or things didn't pan out 100%, that you still probably made progress towards something. I hope you have a gentle end to your 2024. I hope that you have a chance to rest and be with your loved ones and just kind of move into the next Gregorian New Year in a way that feels good to you. I'm grateful for all of you as well. I hope you have a great week. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next one.